what some Republicans did seem to understand, Ted Cruz certainly understood it, that yes, right now this is being used against speech that Republicans don't like. But Willie, Republicans aren't going to be in the White House forever. So they understood. Ted Cruz warned about it. Others warned about it. What we're doing to them right now, they will do to us when a Democrat. This is short-sighted. It makes no sense.
Social media companies make editorial decisions at the scale of hundreds of millions per second. They decide what content gets shown to whom and in what order. My office encouraged those companies to exercise that editorial discretion to avoid spreading inaccurate information, particularly related to the ongoing pandemic.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Oh, did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, this sort of class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true.
So all the news with Jimmy Kimmel, it brought up this discussion about censorship, and I kind of wanted to bring it back up as new evidence or new story just broke. YouTube admit that Biden administration pressured them to censor Americans' offers, terminated channels' opportunity to rejoin the platform. Breaking news. This is breaking. A lot of people already felt like that. Like you felt like you were getting deboosted, delisted, right? Conservatives are doing I told you so moment. This is what real censorship looked like. And I wanted to go talk about the intro you saw from MSNBC, or MS Now. It's like what they like to call themselves. Joe Scarborough talking about, oh, this is eventually going to be used against the conservatives. And it's almost like it's lost on them that they were already doing this stuff in the 2020 during the Biden administrations. Deboosting conservatives, censoring conservatives, banning conservatives. Remember? There's people who got banned off of Twitter when they were trying to bring attention to the Hunter Biden laptop store, which they call was disinformation, misinformation. You saw in the intro also that was a Biden official talking about how they encourage social media platforms to moderate content. This is the language of the left. And the left, they want to cry about Jimmy Kimmel, right? Because these are their standards. They claim that you should be banned over misinformation, right? Saying claims that are not substantiated by evidence, right? You're not allowed to have an opinion without evidence. But when they do stuff, when they make an opinion without evidence, and I showed on my Jimmy Kimmel video why I believe it was justified for him to lose, at least be suspended, because he made a lie, an egregious lie, try to hide it behind a joke when he was just spreading a lie, misinformation, liberal propaganda, that Charlie's killer was MAGA. Make that make sense. MAGA killing MAGA. These liberals want to gaslight you into making you think that conservatives are somehow suicidal. Make it make sense. But this is a warning that's not lost on many liberals. Bill Maher, who I seen as more of the sensible liberals, is trying to warn the more progressive radical liberals that they can't win this game of censorship, because at the end of the day, they started it, and you can't get mad when conservatives come along and tries to finish it. Let's take a look.
This would make some sense for the Democrats if they had any power. But the idea of we don't talk to you when we don't even have the power, of course you have to talk to people. I mean, there was an article somebody wrote. He was...
But here's the thing. You're right. But here's the thing. Let's say we're going to have that argument. You're going to try to talk to somebody and you have a point of view. The other person has a point of view. Before you have the exchange, you have to agree on certain facts.
No, you don't. You can't. Once you start down that road...
Well, no.
It's like these are... You just have to talk to people.
No, you talk to people. But if somebody says 2 + 2 is 4 and the other guy says, no, it's not, how do you begin the discussion?
Because Rob, that's a slippery slope. I agree there are certain things that we all think And then there are people, I'm sorry, everybody, I know this from doing this show, for so many people who've sat here and they're like, oh, this is a smart person, this is a rational person, and then there's like one thing, they don't believe we landed on the moon. And you're just like, no, if you start down that road of, I can't talk to you if you believe this crazy thing, because maybe
so
you
let's
just
say
can't.
The good old liberal condition. Oh, you to talk to me because liberals are so special, leftists are so special. You got to live in their reality. Oh, these are the conditions I set. You can't argue with someone. They got to agree to a basic set of facts, right? And I remember the left was doing this specifically with the 2020 election when many conservatives believed that it was stolen, and liberals were like, I can't talk to a Republican if they can't admit that Donald Trump lost the election. Well, that's an ironic example, being that leftards are the ones that can't agree that 2 + 2 = 4. Radical teachers claim that saying 2 + 2 = 4 is white supremacy, right? This is the kind of ideas, and Bill Maher's right. Because if you start saying, oh, this condition, if you don't agree to this set of facts, the person can automatically flip it on you and say, if you don't agree with this worldview, we shouldn't even have a conversation with you. When conservatives were making the argument that science was being politicized for political ends, science was being used and abused for political ends, the left didn't want to hear it. The left called it misinformation. Oh, there's no evidence to suggest that Biden's administration is censoring conservative voices. And then what happened? It always comes out in the end. It was just released that Google was pressured by Biden administration to remove YouTube accounts. But go for it, Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper and Seth Meyers applaud Kimmel's return, with Tapper saying it was pretty much the direct infringement by the government on free speech I have seen in my lifetime. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Right? And this is, in this video, this is what I'm talking about with censorship. Because at the end of the day, censorship, content moderation, it only serves one purpose: to protect dogma, to protect a narrative, not seeking truth. The goal isn't to seek truth. The objective isn't to seek truth, because if the objective of conversation, discussions, speech was to seek truth, you have to allow conversations to happen. But when you threaten someone's life, right? You claim that you want to kill somebody. That's not really free speech, is it? You're just making a threat. You're allowed to say it, but when someone take your credible and they forward your message to the FBI like Scott Jennings did to Keith Olbermann, I don't want to hear any outrage about how overblown and how sensitive conservatives are being, right? And this is something that I think a lot on the left miss out, and I found a great segment. Shout out to this guy. I don't know his name, but he makes a lot of sense on this segment, and it goes to show how lost when it comes to the censorship discussion and the double standards that liberals project and operate. Because Jake Tapper talked about, oh, this is the most direct infringement of speech I've ever seen in my lifetime, when Joe Biden administration was cracking down on political speech. Conservatives wasn't calling for violence. Conservatives wasn't calling to anyone's life or anything like that. We were being demonized during the Biden administration. Biden administration was getting your videos throttled. You were getting banned. Your accounts were getting removed for merely expressing an opinion that didn't have any facts to back it up, right? Oh, Donald Trump made a statement without evidence. Okay, but that's not a fact check. Your fact check didn't verify his statement as false. So you made a fake fact check. This is the type of dumb stuff that liberals do to content moderate based on their preferences, based on their views. And I hope this video gave a nice summary about how I see some of the tactics that the left do as hypocritical, especially when it comes to the censorship debate. But without further ado, let's get into the clip.
Your mind without retribution from the government. This is a government that is controlling law firms, media companies, educational institutions, and silencing opposition at the end of the day. And it's because of the money on the table from Nexstar, their billion-dollar merger, and that Disney lost their $4 billion in market cap that is causing all of this action. They're afraid of the government. Is exactly what Donald Trump did.
Who was silenced? Nobody's silenced. We're not.
Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. You have universities afraid.
This is the ridiculousness, right? Like, this is why I'm focused on the Jimmy Kimmel situation, because look at the examples the left bringing up, and look at the example the right is bringing up. Who lost their life for speaking a political opinion? wasn't threatening no one's life, wasn't calling anyone, like no calls of violence, nothing that people can perceive. There's hours and hours on Charlie Kirk's content. And based on the sensibilities of somebody, they might call some of his statements racist based on their own subjective sensibilities. But what Charlie Kirk says or speak about, is there facts or some type of data or evidence to support his claims? Yes. When Charlie Kirk makes out inconvenient truths about black males and how they're 30% of the population, but they commit almost nearly 50% of the crimes in a country, is that racism or is that pattern recognition? But based on your sensibilities, there's some people in this world, especially liberals, is that when you point out patterns, they like to call it sexist and racist. Just merely calling out the patterns. Hey, men tend to be stronger than women. Therefore, men should not be playing in women's sports. Oh, you're a sexist. You don't think women are equal to men. Not physically. Right? But that's biological reality, correct? But based on someone's sensibilities, they may be offended about that. But because of someone's subjective truth, right? Based on someone's subjective sensibilities, I should lose my job over that? That's way different than celebrating someone's death because they got killed for speech that you didn't like. Charlie Kirk didn't push hate speech. You just hated his speech. And you hated his speech so much that a killer aligned with your beliefs and values, most Americans agree that Charlie Kirk's killer was aligned with left-wing beliefs, took his life. And your fake comedian, aka your liberal propagandist, Jimmy Kimmel, tried to mask a lie with a joke, and he got held some level of accountability. It's not like he lost his job, and liberals are screaming bloody murder over it. This is craziness. Craziness. This is the left's free speech martyr, Jimmy Kimmel. Got suspended for 5 days for coding a lie in a joke. Make it make sense. But what Charlie Kirk got killed for? Talking about issues, advocating for his position, and making the argument why delusional men can't be women. Delusional women can't be men, and he got shot for it. Because he spoke against an ideology that the killer aligned himself with. That's why he got killed. Because he wasn't willing to go with someone's delusion, and he wanted to live in reality. Because that's what it means to seek truth. You live in reality. But I digress. Let's get back into the video.
To speak their mind. You have research being completely
we talk
defunded.
about the blue and the red division. Every single one of the reasons why the FCC has a role is because these are broadcast stations with a monopoly that was granted by the government.
Do you feel good about
not? No,
Do you feel
and I would hate it if the federal government came in and said, you may not say that. The reason why Jimmy Kimmel got himself into the first place is he was repeating a lie believed by 1 in 3 Democrats that the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk
He did not
had
say that.
right of center beliefs.
He did not say that.
We can parse his verbiage all day long. If he comes out and says, listen, that
Possible deniability. This is one of the tactics I can't really stand from left-wing people. If there's even a possibility, because this is the possibility probability. All right. Oh, it's possible he didn't mean that, but highly probability. Jimmy Kimmel's incentivized politically to try to skirt responsibility and accountability from his values being aligned with a killer that took a horrifying act against another individual. People celebrating his political opposition's death, which is bad optics for the left, and also protesting the funeral of this said individual who got killed for his speech, his nonviolent speech. Jimmy Kimmel don't want that kind of association with his side. That's why he made the joke. High probability that that's what Jimmy Kimmel was doing. But leftist liberals love to do this possible deniability BS that I hate so much. Disingenuous.
was not what I was trying to say. Thank you. Fantastic. I appreciate that, Mr. Kimmel. The problem is that is believed. And we have spent way more time treating Jimmy Kimmel as a victim than the person who was shot and killed in front of their wife and children.
The left will always lose this argument, especially when it comes to martyrdom, free speech. Oh, Jimmy Kimmel, oh my God, we need a protest over that. Where was the protest about condemning and Charlie Kirk's killer and what he did? Instead, you heard a bunch of people on the left try to make excuses and justification. Oh, I don't condone what happened to Charlie Kirk, but this is the only thing the left would have said. They'll say something neutral about the woods. Oh, we don't condone this, but that was the left. Oh, but Jimmy Kimmel gets suspended for a couple days. He loses his show. News organizations, private businesses want to do what's best in their best interest. Remember, left? Remember we used to agree with that? Oh, well, if a company finds conservatives, what a conservative says problematic, it's up to the company's discretion whether or not that if he's worth hiring or not. But you suspend Jimmy Kimmel for making an insensitive joke. Oh, sorry, making a lie and wrap it up in a joke, and you cry bloody murder. Ridiculous.
Let me ask you a question. If Joe Biden took down a prominent right-wing personality on TV, what he or she said, would you endorse that?
You're hypothetical if the Biden administration went and jawboned, let's say, social media platforms.
I'm talking about a similar allegory of someone on TV
hundreds of conservatives.
Will you answer my question?
No, that is literally what the administration that you served did. Google just released
a broadcast
all of
TV
the
host
components.
taken down for words that they say or intimidated on. I will not approve
in the
your merger.
history of
as
the
a result.
FCC, they have done that plenty of times on the right.
Was the
There's a
FCC
reason
chair saying we're
why.
going to do this the easy way or the hard way, like a mobster?
Your
Were they?
administration
Were they?
deplatformed and kicked off of social media. You want to talk about actually silencing? Having any single public outlet that you have unallowed to broadcast something, right? Jimmy Kimmel could go on MSNBC tomorrow. He's going back on ABC tonight. This man has not been silenced. Charlie Kirk's been silenced because he's dead. A lot of conservatives were silenced on social media platforms because the government threatened those social media companies. Facebook, Google, Twitter. You can go down all the list. YouTube, again, just acknowledged.
And the difference here is they have no government contracts. That's the funny part with these social media companies. They have no government they have no government contract, right? They don't have no FCC license, right? They don't have no government sponsored monopoly on the airwaves. They don't have no fiduciary duty to have equal representation of views on their platform. Social media don't need to do that. And the Biden administration pressured them anyway. But no, you don't want to focus on that. You only want to focus on the conservatives. What we doing? Busybodies. You're worrying about our movement. You're worried about what we doing over there, but you're not holding your Democratic Party accountable. You're not holding them to a higher standard. You're not holding up to, hey, you live by the values you're trying to get us to live by. The rules for thee, but not for me. And this is the kind of BS that a lot of conservatives are tired about. Conservatives want a two-way street. Either we all live by the same standards, or conservatives are going to make sure you live by the same standards. That's the game now, because we're tired of being this nice little cordial, because it seems like you're just out to dominate us, and that's it. You just want us to submit to your view, your rules, your conditions. You don't have to give up nothing. Your way out the highway. And conservatives is like, they hitting you with the Drake. We ain't going for it.
To Congress today that they did that at the behest of the Biden administration.
Got nothing to say. But you worried about censorship. Oh my God. This is the most direct infringement by the government on free speech that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I don't know why Disney and Bob Iger ultimately made the right decision and stood for free speech, says the liberals. Love their optics, love to look like the good guy, but do nothing but wrong. You love to appear like you're reasonable. You love to appear like you're tolerant and open, but you're not. You hide your authoritarianism in this passive veneer of righteousness and, we're trying to do what's fair. Does it seem fair that you're crying about a guy getting suspended from his show for making an insensitive joke? If the opposite was happened to a Democrat activist, popular Democrat activist, and Greg Gutfeld made an insensitive joke that you guys perceived, and we know you guys would have perceived it as bloody murder, and Fox News took him off the air for a couple days, y'all be in the same boat right now. Right? No, actually, you'll be calling for his job. And because conservatives are not as represented in the journalism sphere as you guys are, you know all the media people will be complaining. You guys don't complain about the media blackout. I did on my Jimmy Kimmel video. I showed how Bill O'Reilly complained about the fact that Jimmy Kimmel has nothing but liberals and Democrat congressmen on his airwaves. He never had Republicans on there. Right? He talks about how all the news networks, if he's trying to advertise something, a movie, show, book, they won't book him because of his views. But you're crying about censorship, liberal left. But I digress. This is the kind of stuff that really grinds a lot of conservatives' gears. Because as a conservative, I think one of the fundamental principles that makes me and many people conservative is a two-way street. We all live by one standard. There shouldn't be no double standard. Oh, black people can't be racist. Why? Isn't that a racist statement? Because of someone's skin color, you saying they can't do something? Isn't that a racist statement to say black people can't be racist? Make it make sense. Giving someone special treatment because of the color of their skin. I don't agree with those standards. One standard, merit. That's the conservative principle. So if you're going to have these rules about censorship, misinformation, disinformation, people should be deplatformed. Brian Stelter, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of reach. Live by your standards. Don't sit here pushing values that you yourself don't want to live up to. That's what we call you guys hypocrites for. And now you want to call us hypocrites because we want to hold you to your standards. Just like you love to hold conservatives to our standards, right? Oh, God said not to judge. You're giving a half quote. God said don't judge if you're not ready to be judged. I'm ready to be judged. That's why I judge people. Right? And this is the problem that many conservatives have with the left. And it seems like the left don't want to hear it, but hey, you're going to keep hearing it. Because the more you try to make these false comparisons, the more pushback you're going to get from the conservative right. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if it's so kind. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.